Listen, Never Ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What if comparing car insurance rates was as easy as putting on your favorite podcast? With Progressive, it is. Just visit the Progressive website to quote with all the coverages you want. You'll see Progressive's direct rate, then their tool will provide options from other companies so you can compare. All you need to do is choose the rate and coverage you like. Quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
You're jamming your favorite song, and while you aren't missing a beat, you could be missing a signal from your body. It's an SOS from your kidneys, and it doesn't sound like music at all. It's silent. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and other risk factors can quietly stress the kidneys, leading to negative impacts on the heart. That's why you should ask your doctor about a simple urine test called UACR. Most miss the signal for hidden kidney disease and related heart risk. You shouldn't. Visit detectthesos.com today to learn more.
Former big leaguer Rick Ankiel of the St. Louis Cardinals and a few other teams, including the Kansas City Royals. Rick, welcome to our show. Thank you.
Yeah, what's going on? How are you guys?
You know, we're doing okay. I believe you're down in Florida, correct?
I am down in Florida.
So let's start with spring training. Have you been to see? I'm a Cardinals fan for a long, long time, Rick. Have you been to see the Cardinals this spring? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have been over there to see them. Yeah, it's a great, it's a good time for Florida, right? Springtime, all the teams show up, the Cardinals included. I thought it was good. It's early, right? So I think from a result standpoint, I don't put too much in results when you're watching the team at this stage. You're just looking about how they're gelling together, where it's going. I mean, I think when you look at, obviously we've had a few little injuries, right? But when everybody's healthy, I mean, I'm just looking at it like I want to see what the pitching staff can do. The guys that they brought in can do. Excited about the new additions and look forward to see how it plays out.
So we were having this debate earlier, and for 95% of the players, it's pretty locked in where they're going to end up. Of course, the big league guys' results really don't matter. But what about a guy battling for a roster spot? What does the coaching staff, the manager, look at for those guys, the guys that might be on the fringe a little bit?
I think sometimes they're actually wanting those guys to fail. I don't mean fail, but they want to see what they do when they have a couple bad days in a row. How do they handle that from an adversity standpoint? Because, look, you know how baseball is. You're constantly dealing with failures. And when you're young, you don't know how to internalize the failure, the ups and downs, the 0 for 3, 0 for 10. So what happens when they make an error? Can they get back into the next play, from a defensive standpoint with their head in the game, paying attention? Or, you kind of see what the body language is. So not just the results, but are they swinging at good pitches? Are they chasing balls out of the zone? All that, I think all of that plays in. Obviously, the results are nice, but you want to see, what is he seeing the ball well? Because you could be seeing the ball great, but not have numbers to show for it. Maybe you hit some balls that went at someone, or but at least you're commanding the strike zone, and that goes for pitchers too. Just seeing where they are. Usually early in spring as a pitcher, you don't have as much command of your off-speed stuff, and usually that comes with a couple weeks in. And so, I think you're looking at those things.
Talking with former big leaguer Rick Ankiel, are you going to be part of the Cardinals broadcasts again this year, the pre and post game?
No. Nope.
Come on, man.
Nope,
I got to have you on that.
Okay. You know what, bud? I wish I was. It's my sons are 11 and 12. As a matter of fact, we're going to do our sessions. We're going to just call today at 3. And what happens is the boys got home, and I forgot about it, and we were actually hitting in the cage. So I didn't want to leave them hanging because we were down the street at a friend's house hitting. So thank you. But, I think with them being 11 and 12, I'm just trying to find stuff that I can do more local. That makes more sense for everyone.
I hear you. So your book has been out for a while. It's called The Phenomenon, Pressure, the Yips, and the Pitch That Changed My Life. Well, a lot of people know your story, Rick. I'm just curious, when all this went down, and I know exactly what pitch you're talking about and what transformed, and this incredible pitching career kind of went up in smoke, and you turned your attention to hitting, were able to get back to the big leagues as a very good hitter as well. Was there ever a time when what happened to you and with you caused you to lose any of your passion for baseball?
Yeah, you can look at it that way for sure, because baseball growing up was fun. And I enjoyed to compete. I think most people who play do. And there's a time where I didn't want to go to the field. And, I think growing up, I couldn't wait to go to the field. And when you're dealing with something like that, just not being able to throw a strike or not being able to throw it to the guy you're playing catch with, there's not a lot of enjoyment in that. So looking forward to go to the field was something that was lost. So, yeah, you can definitely say I lost a passion for it, because it's like I wasn't even competing, right? I was just figuring out how to try to get the ball close enough to the strike zone to compete. But, there was 4 years of that where it felt like I really wasn't, I wasn't competing at all, if that makes sense.
What was the work ethic like between getting to the big leagues as a pitcher and then having to restart as a hitter? Obviously you worked hard to get to the big leagues at 19, but I have to assume some of it came pretty easy for you because you were dominant in the big leagues at 20. So how much work did you have to put in, comparatively speaking, starting over and becoming a full-time hitter?
I think from a mental standpoint, it was the same. And because my dream was always to become the best baseball player ever. That's, or the best pitcher ever when I was a pitcher. So I looked at it like that, and I worked very hard. I didn't take it for granted. I understood, that God had blessed me with it was unbelievable, and I had a chance to be something special. So, but what happened when I switched over was I was constantly trying to catch up with time. So I was 25 at the time. So, you show up early. I'm taking 100 extra fly balls. When practice is done and everybody left, same thing, an extra 100 swings, an extra, working on jumps in the outfield. So it was just, I would say different, but it was when you used the word passion early, what happened was my passion came back, right? I wanted to go to the field. I wanted to get better. I wanted to learn. And really I was doing as much as my body would physically let me do. Right before there comes to some point where you're going to get hurt. If you take too many reps, your body gets tired, all that stuff. So basically I was doing as much as I thought my body could handle.
Rick Ankiel with us. For my money, the most incredible prospect that the Cardinals have had. Didn't work out as a pitcher. He went to the outfield. He became a very good major league outfielder and hitter. And then the stuff at Coors Field happened. So you go to the wall, you retrieve a couple balls, you throw them on a dime to get runners at third base. I've never seen throws like that in my life. It's such irony that you lost your control as a pitcher and were able to put those throws exactly where they needed to be.
Yeah, it was almost like a cruel joke from the baseball gods. Once I got out past 100 feet, I could throw the ball anywhere I wanted again. And when I got inside 100 feet, it was like my body didn't want to let me do it. But thanks for the walk down memory lane. People bring up those throws a lot, and it's always fun to think about them. So thanks for bringing it up.
Was there a moment for you, Rick, where you knew you had remade it, that you felt like you belonged in the big leagues as an outfielder and a hitter? Did you have that light bulb moment where you just knew it was going to work out?
Man, that's a great question. I knew I had power as a hitter. So, the biggest challenge I knew that I was going to have was, could I hit consistently enough to make the power work? And then in the outfield, once I got to the big leagues, the hitting was there. I think there became a point where, baseball is about playing the outfield is about anticipating what can happen next, right? There's a runner on first, the ball gets hit to my left in this gap, then I don't have a play at third, possibly at home. That runner is going to be at first. There came a time when there was a lot less. I didn't have to anticipate as much. It just became a habit, right? I could look at it and know exactly what I was going to do if the ball was put in a certain place, versus really sitting there and having to go, okay, if it's hit down the right field line, when I turn around, the cutoff man's going to be here or the cutoff man's going to be there. Because at first, when you're learning how to play the outfield, that's what a lot of that was. Just really trying to, think about what was going to happen next. And then when it becomes a habit, then you can start playing the games within the games, the cat and mouse games with the runners and different things like that. So I'd say it might have been after the first, when I got called, maybe a month or two in, because I had some time in minor leagues in the outfield too. But it just became more of a habit of what could transpire in front of me.
Couple moments here left with Rick Ankiel, a longtime big leaguer for several teams, most notably, in my opinion, the St. Louis Cardinals. So at the age of 20 in 2000, you were 11-7 with a 3.50 earned run average, 175 innings pitched. You struck out 194. An incredible young pitcher. We know what happened with the loss of your command. You turned your attention to hitting, and you had your best year in 2008 with the Cardinals, 25 homers. You batted .264. You drove in 71 runs with an OPS of well over 800. You got to be – I know that maybe your career didn't turn out the way you thought it would, or many of us hoped it would, but you got to be proud of the transition you were able to make to be that level of a player, both as a pitcher and a hitter.
I'm very proud of it, no question. And, even when you just read those stats, I was thinking about it. Not only do people know this, but I was 11-7, but I went 10 straight starts without a decision. So I wasn't in line to win every one of those, but there was, we could say 7 of those, I at least had a chance to get the win. There, but it's not very good. I didn't give up. All the hard work that I put into it, it played off, and being able to make it to the big leagues and, play as an outfielder, it was an incredible experience. And now with my kids, or giving back to the youth and teaching kids the nuances of pitching and hitting, it's fun. And it's always fun to tell stories about what I went through, the ups and downs. It's not a fair hill. It worked, and as you said, I'm very proud of that.
So you were on the roster to play for the Kansas Stars, but I don't remember if you actually played. Did you? Yeah,
we came to the alumni game. That's when we played the college guys.
Yeah, were you? Yeah.
I did, yeah. So I came in and played, and a couple guys were like, "Hey, I think why don't you pitch?" I was like, "All right." I just thought I was at a point in time after retiring that I thought it would go well. So I went out there and pitched, and it did. It went really good. It was good to get back out there on the mound. And, at the time when I did it, it felt good enough to where I thought, you know what, I think I could make a comeback and, help a team win, at least out of the bullpen, come in, fire some curveballs. And at that time, baseball, you were really seeing a lot of 12-6 curveballs and a lot of high fastballs. Well, that's something that I did well when I pitched. And so I tried to make a comeback, but one thing that happened is when I played in that game, I didn't really get ready as far as throwing. I just got there and, unleashed it, and I ended up having I slightly tore my ligament in my elbow because I really, my body wasn't ready to handle that kind of velocity.
Rick Ankiel, our guest, you pitched obviously in the 2000 divisional series against the Braves, held them scoreless in the first 2 innings, and then the 3rd inning came about, and that's where you just seemingly just lost your command. And I don't know how to ask this question. It's a tough one to ask, but do you still wake up at night thinking about that, or have you completely put that in your past? How does that work?
I just put it in my past. I look at it like, bad things happen to good people. It wasn't in my control, it was just something I had to deal with. And I dealt with it, the best way I could, overcame it, found a way around it, made it back to the big leagues. And it's like getting in a car crash, right? Sometimes it's not always your fault, but you got to deal with the damage after. And you put everything back together and you keep it moving. So, no, I don't think about it too often. It just, it's one of those things that happen. And, here we are, and tomorrow's tomorrow, today's today.
So I'm involved with a youth baseball organization here in Wichita. I would imagine that you could, I don't know if you do, but I would imagine that you could do a speaking engagement every day. Do you do those?
I do. And I don't do them every day, but I've definitely done it. And like I said, I coach my son's team who's 11, and, it's just nice to get back. And I help as much as possible with any way I can help, whether it's a coach, whether it's kids. It's just, I've always felt, as an ex-player, when you're done playing, it's your job to give back what you've learned. So I, try to do that as much as possible.
Well, awesome stuff. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I hope someday you manage to get back into television because you're really good at it. And I say that as a harsh critic of media. So I would not say that if I didn't believe it. I hope it happens for you, Rick. Thank you. I appreciate it. If the timing's right, it will. All right. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Thank you.
Listen up, football never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews or news, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue. And guess what? Now you can call them on your auto insurance too with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. Get your quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
I'm caught up in the game. My attention is on every play and every whistle. But what I'm missing is a signal coming from my kidneys. That signal isn't like a ref's whistle. It's more of a silent SOS, which could be warning me of an increased risk for events like heart attack or stroke. And a way I can catch that signal? A simple urine test called UACR. If you have type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, talk to your doctor about the UACR test. Detect the SOS. Visit detectthesos.com to learn more.
There's nothing like gaining a fresh perspective from experts who've seen it all and have the wisdom to prove it. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best. With plans starting at $10 a month, billed annually, you get unlimited access to over 200 plus classes taught by the world's best business leaders, writers, chefs, and more. With Masterclass, you get thousands of bite-sized lessons across 13 categories that can fit into even the busiest of schedules. And the classes really make a difference. 3 in 4 surveyed members feel inspired every time they watch Masterclass. And 83% of surveyed members have applied something they've learned from Masterclass to their lives. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/audio for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/audio. masterclass.com/audio.
What can ADP do for small business? We help answer the business questions, like how do you track employee time? How do you do payroll taxes? Or what does compliance even mean? So small businesses can focus on bigger questions. Now florists can ask, can we invent another holiday to sell bouquets? Pizza shops can ask, how do we stuff a calzone into a pizza crust? And pool cleaners can ask, what is that thing in the filter? These are the questions you can focus on when ADP takes care of the business of your small business. ADP for small business.